Hello, everyone. Happy Thanksgiving. Excuse me. Um, I wanted to share another dream I had earlier this year that was ingrained into my memory. Unable to forget it. A much different sort of dream. Almost lucid, but not quite. It's very difficult to describe. Prior to this sort of dream, I never had a dream like this one before, because of how peculiar it was, and I'll get to that in a second. Um, Basically, I was in another dimension, in another Earth like planet that was very different. It had skyscrapers, very, very tall skyscrapers that were made of wood, or at least something that resembled wood. It was like this reddish color, and they were very tall, and just if you can imagine very tall wooden structures, as hard as that is to imagine, because we don't have very many very tall wooden structures over here. And it was absolutely stunningly beautiful. You could tell that this was a higher dimension. These very tall buildings were kind of surrounded by these concrete like platforms at the surface level that sort of resembled our concrete that we have here, and it was just absolutely filled with trees. It's like a city of wood in the forest, except there are these concrete platforms, and there are like these square type areas where people gathered, I suppose. And I was in one of these skyscrapers. I was in the upper floors, and I don't recall what happened exactly or what the situation was, if it was a suicide or if it was an accident, but I fell off from one of the top floors and I hit the ground. And instead of like usual, like waking up from a dream where you're falling, I hit the ground and I left my body inside the dream. The avatar that I was living, I left that body and I became spirit form, and I was looking at myself on the ground from above in spirit form in the dream, if you can imagine that. So I basically died, and instead of leaving the area to the cosmos, heaven, or whatever, I became sort of a ghost. And I started walking around the city, and I was trying to talk to people. I was trying to get everyone's attention. And I saw my mom and brother, the same mom and brother that I have here, looked exactly the same. And actually, I looked pretty much exactly the same too. We were all human like there. And at first, I saw my mom, who was in deep distress, very upset that I was dead. And I got right to her face, and I try to get her attention. I try to wake her up, try to move my hand, and she wasn't seeing me. And I was approaching many different people, trying to get their attention, and I was getting really frustrated because nobody was seeing me, nobody was paying attention to me. And then when I came upon my brother, he is the only one that actually did notice me. So I suppose you could call him a medium in the dream or whatever. But I was communicating with him, and he was able to hear everything I was saying, and I was basically just telling him, hey, I'm okay. Tell mom that there's nothing to be concerned about, that I'm still alive. And that he went to my mom and transferred the information to her, and she started crying, very just bawling her eyes. She was in deep distress, and she kind of knew that my brother was able to communicate with me. And then it seemed like some time had passed as I continued kind of just strolling around in this stunningly beautiful city that doesn't resemble anything like we have here at all. It's very difficult to describe or imagine. Just everything, all the buildings just made out of this red wooden like substance. I mean, I can't verify if it is wood or if it isn't wood. I have no idea, but it looks like wood. And at last, we kind of finally came upon my funeral, where I was, of course, in a red wooden casket. And I saw my brother and mom there, and I was watching my own funeral in that spirit form, in that dream. So that's pretty much where it ended. All right, bye.